I want to share with you a real easy way of cooking a whole turkey. We're going to do it on a 22-inch Weber grill, so it saves you a ton of space in the side of the house, especially around the holidays and Thanksgiving when you're going to be doing lots of sides and using the oven for that. So we're going to spatchcock this, which basically means we're just going to simply butterfly it, and we're going to cook it outside on this Weber, and I'm going to show you how. So the first thing we're going to do is get our coals going, and what I like to do is I like to use these starters, and I put it on one side of the coals. So I basically have created coals on one side of the Weber, nothing on the other side, because we're going to have a drip pan there. And I'm going to get these fire starters in here to one side on purpose because I'm basically going to want the coals to burn evenly and slowly over time. So now that we got the fire started, it's going to kind of work its way over and it's going to give us a nice even heat so we have a long burn time. So what I also like to do is put a drip pan in there because we're going to have the whole bird sitting on top. And I'm going to take this opportunity to put some water in there to create a more moist environment. You can put wine, you can put some veggies in there, you can turn this into a whole stock making procedure. Here I'm just going to have a drip pan and have some water so that way it's a little bit more moist, and also I won't have any flare-ups with the fat dripping down. Wonderful. Next up, we're going to get to the bird. And right before we put the bird on, we're also going to use some pecan wood chips. So I soaked these overnight in just some water. And right before we get it on, we're going to sprinkle the coals with some of these pecan wood chips to give a nice, deep, smoky flavor. It's going to give it a wonderful color, and it's going to be very aromatic. So now we're going to adjust the turkey. So simply what we need to do is just cut the back out of this and just kind of smash it down. So a couple different ways you can go about it. You can use some kitchen shears, some poultry shears. I like using a knife and just kind of taking my time. So right here, we already took all the innards out of the turkey. You know, when you get them, they're just kind of packed full of that. Definitely save that for stock. You can even put it in the drip pan if you wanted to make a stock at the same time. So that's already been removed. And I'm just gonna simply find where the spine is, and I'm gonna really be careful. And I'm gonna take my time, and I'm gonna cut on each side of the spine that I can see running right through. And if you're not comfortable using a knife because it is a little bit dangerous, definitely poultry shears would be a lot easier. Just kind of heavy duty poultry shears and just cut down each side. So that's one side, and now we just got to adjust the other. There you have it. Looks like the bees want some too. So now we have the turkey cut right down the back. Spine's removed. Now we can spatchcock it. So this right here, wonderful for stock. You can put it in the freezer. You can save it and make a stock at a future time. You can put it right in the drip pan, and you can have some stock actually smoking while you go. So we're just gonna put this one in the drip pan. That's gonna give us some really great flavor. So now what we want to do is we want to flatten it even more. So you can see on this side, we have a breastbone here, and we just want to kind of crack it and break it. Just kind of, you hear that snap? That's that breastbone. So we just flatten it out. And that's literally all there is to spatchcocking, is just flattening it out by cutting out the spine and smashing it down. Now we're going to season it. So I have our Tuscan garlic spice here. You can see this also on our YouTube channel, and we're going to be pretty liberal. Turkey can take a lot of salt, and this has all kinds of wonderful spices in here as well besides kosher salt. I'll flip it over. Make sure we get really, really liberal all over that turkey. You can see here another benefit of spatchcocking is you can really get the seasoning all the way throughout. So when I season the bird like this, I like to season it up to it 1 hour before, but you can even go a day before. What you actually do is you'll create a dry brine by allowing it to sit in its own juices overnight. It'll get even more tender and more juicy. So it looks like a lot of spice, so trust me, turkey can take it. So up next, now that we have our coals going and we can see that we're starting to get it to burn through, we're going to add our pecan wood chips. So just a good handful. I like to soak these overnight, so then that way they don't really burn too quickly, because then it can kind of get acrid. So I just kind of want it to smolder and give a little bit of that smoky flavor. So probably going to use about a half a cup's worth of these pecan wood chips that I've soaked. Next up, we're going to get the grate on. So now that we have the grate on, we have our coals going, we have our pecan wood in there, we have our turkey spatchcock seasoned liberally with our Tuscan garlic spice. We simply just got to set it on there, and then I'm going to show you this wonderful thermometer that we use as well. So this thermometer comes from Fisher and Paykel, and it's basically a remote wireless temperature probe. And we're going to literally put it into the thickest part of the breast, because we're really concerned about overcooking the breast. We want to make sure that that's nice and juicy. So we're going to stick it into the thickest part of the breast, and I'll show you where we place the actual turkey on the grill so that we get the best temperature cooking for the thighs as well. So let's get this guy open here. Oh, it's beautiful. This thing works awesome. I love this. The cool thing about this is that you don't actually have to you don't have to poke at it, you don't have to open it, let the heat out. And I'm going to show you, we're going to use my app on my phone, the Smart HQ app, that I can literally see the ambient temperature of the oven, or in this case the grill with the lid on, and the internal temperature of the turkey. It's really amazing. I'm going to put in the thickest part of the breast. Perfect. And that's going to allow me to check the internal temperature as it cooks in real time, and also the ambient temperature, in this case of the Weber Kettle Grill, or it could be the oven. Now before we go in, I'm going to squirt it with some olive oil. I think this is just going to help it get like a nice sheen, also give it some extra fat, some extra flavor. I'm going to give it one more coating of the spice as well. So looking at my app right now, it's only 30 degrees internal because it's still cold from the fridge. It's showing me the ambient temperature of outside, and that's all going to change once we get into the Weber. Perfect. So now that we have our coals going, we have our pecan wood, we have our drip tray in there with the water, we put in the backbone just for some extra flavor. Now we're going to get our turkey in here. Now the best thing is the legs and the thighs take longer to cook, and they can really take the heat because they have so much fat. So we're going to put those close to the coals. We're going to keep the breast away from the coals, so that way we have more even cooking and we don't dry out the breast. And literally when you spatchcock a turkey or chicken and you cook it like this, splayed open, you cut the cooking time in half. Okay, now that we have our turkey fully seasoned, we have our coals working, we have our wood chips in there, our drip pan under there, we have our Fisher and Paykel wireless temperature sensor in there as well. We're going to be monitoring that on the Smart HQ app. Now we're just going to literally set it and forget it. So we're going to put the lid on it. And what I like to do is I like to keep the top lid open, and I like to put that directly over the turkey. And what happens is, because we have the heat on this side and we have the opening here, it creates like a natural convection. So we're going to kind of pull the heat and the smoke through the bird and out the opening. So that's really going to help it cook nice and quickly and evenly. So now we can monitor the temperature here, but also with the Smart HQ app, we're going to be able to monitor the temperature ambiently through the app. And then this top is going to give us the full control that we need. If we need it to be less hot, we're going to close it up and close out the air a little bit. More, we're going to leave it open. So right now we're going to let it open, keep it open, let things start to burn, get the temperature set, and kind of see where we're at in a little bit. So I'm going to go back to my app. And right now the ambient temperature is rising, because now that we have it closed up, the internal temperature is kind of set. And now we're just going to wait. We're going to monitor this, and we don't even need to check it till the turkey's done. All right, so it's been about 3 hours, and I'm looking at my Smart HQ app. The Fisher and Paykel wireless thermometer is showing 162.8, 163. Ambient temperature is 240, so it's perfect. We literally, with that coal technique of just burning one side to the other, we're able to keep it right around 300-ish for almost the entire cooking time, and now it's done. So the breast is around 163 and climbing. So now we're going to take a look, we're going to unveil it and see how it's looking on the inside. Oh man, that is absolutely perfect. That's what you're looking for. So you have this deep golden brown crust. You have all this wonderful smoke coming from the pecan wood. Literally perfect amount of coals. There's just a handful of coals left over. The drip pan is completely full of all the jus, so that's going to make a wonderful stock. We can literally just take that off and reduce it down with some other aromatics, some mirepoix, turn that to a wonderful gravy. So now you want to very carefully take it out. I recommend a very large spatula, maybe even a pair of tongs at the same time. Some heat-proof gloves could help too. So we're just going to go right underneath it. And it is hot and heavy. You know what? I'm going to grab the tongs as well. We're just going to bring it to this platter. Woo! Look at that. Man. In literally less than 3 hours. Beautiful, amazing. The most important thing now is to let it rest. So, rule of thumb is about half the cooking time you want it to rest. So literally that would be an hour and a half. You want to tent it. You want to keep it so that it doesn't get too cold. But right now the outside of the turkey is super hot, and the inside, as we know from the thermometer, is 163 degrees and climbing. So we're finding that equilibrium right now. And once it hits that equilibrium, it's going to be very tender, very juicy. If we cut into it right now, the juices are going to go everywhere. It's going to be tough. We don't want that. We put a lot of time waiting for this turkey, so now we're going to give it a little bit more time, which is the rest time. So at least 30 minutes before you carve into it, and I'm going to show you how I like to carve this. All right, so we had the turkey resting for about 30 minutes or so. So the first thing we're going to do is remove our Fisher & Paykel wireless probe. It did its job amazingly well. Put it back in its little holder. Perfect. And then now I'm going to show you how to carve the bird. So we're going to take it off this pan, and we're going to put it right back into the platter when we're done carving it. Put this off to the side. And you can see it rested perfectly, barely any jus here. We literally let everything get back into that turkey. So it's super easy. I mean, this thing's just going to fall apart. So first thing I'm going to do is just take the legs off, and then carve the breast, and then present it on a platter. So the turkey gives you the seams. I mean, it literally just comes apart. You don't even need a knife for this right here. And then now you have your breast and your wings and your thigh. So everybody wants a drumstick, obviously, right? So you got to cut that off. And you just follow the seam. Perfect. Thigh. On to the next one. Same thing. That one I got more lucky. Drumstick. Thigh. And then for the breast. So it's sitting here on the breastbone still, so we're going to go right down the middle. And the wings you can just peel right off. If they give you any trouble at all, you can just go right down through the seam. You just find the joints, and you can just smell the pecan wood on the smoked turkey. It's amazing. All right, so now we're going to come down here and we're just going to follow it. It's a little warm. It really retains the heat really well. And just kind of pull back, and we're just going to kind of take it right off that breastbone. And then right here, all these little guys you want to use, you can just literally start slicing straight down. I like cutting them into nice big chunks so all that juice stays in there. And that way when someone grabs a piece of turkey meat, they know they got a nice piece of breast. There you go, we got all the breast meat here. I'm gonna come back to that in a sec. All right, the next one. All this meat right here I'm gonna take off. Oh man, it is so, I mean, you can see all that juice. Look at all that moisture still just in that meat. See how perfectly cooked it is. So once again, just follow the breastbone. You can take it completely off, or you can carve it on the bone itself. This one I'm going to take completely off and put on the cutting board. Just like so. Once again, nice big chunks. Beautiful. Make some room for this one. we have the carved breast meat. We have our drumsticks that everyone's going to be fighting over. We have our thighs. You can pull this dark meat apart. I like the wings separate like this. You can keep the wings separate, or you can pull these. I like to actually take these, do a little buffalo sauce, put them back in the smoker, kind of twice cook them and make these into like big old buffalo wings. But you got your wings here. Once again, it'll come apart for you. You just got to follow the joint. All these little meat parts. And all this is still a ton of great meat, so definitely want to go through here and pull all that meat out as well. Super juicy. And this right here is going to be your gravy. You put this into a stock pot with all those mirepoix and the leftover jus from the drippings. Amazing gravy. All right. I've been waiting for this. Give it a try. Man, look at that. I mean, it is just freaking juicy. This is so good. The first thing I get is the smokiness of the pecan wood, and then it's juicy, which you're not used to in a turkey. All the aromatics from my Tuscan garlic spice blend. It is absolutely amazing. You saw how simple it is. Super easy, cooks super quickly. Your guests are going to absolutely love it. If you'd like to see more content like this, subscribe to our channel. Please like it, leave me a comment. Let me know how it worked out for you as well.